This is our first official motion one. Please make sure you're only speaking when you're allowed to speak and not all the time. It might get your voting rights invoked. So the first motion reads, this, the 11th IPSF AfRO Regional Assembly, appoints Mr. Musa Fofana as the chairperson of the 11th IPSF AfRO Regional Assembly. This motion shall be achieved immediately and shall not be reviewed once it has been achieved. Those against, please raise your voting card. The motion has been carried unanimously. I officially give the floor to Musa to continue with the Regional Assembly session. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Tiffany. Now the next motion that we need to vote is this is the 11th IPSF Regional Assembly. Appoint Mr. Yao Mfwafwa, GPSA Ghana, Mrs. Stella Nakamaya, UPSA Uganda, and Ms. Annie Zulu, Mrs. Zambia, as the motion committee for the direction of the 11th Regional Assembly. This motion should be achieved immediately and should not be reviewed once it's been achieved. Those again, please run motion pass unanimously. The next motion, this is the 11th IPSF AfRO Regional Assembly. Appoint Mrs. Josephine U.S. Daisy, GPSA Ghana, Mrs. Samantha Igwa, GPSA Ghana, Mrs. Phyllis Isami, GPSA Ghana, Mrs. Abena Kokwa, GPSA Ghana, Mr. Samson Mukade, Mrs. Zambia, as scrutineers for the direction of the 11th IPSF AfRO Regional Assembly. This motion should be achieved immediately and should not be reviewed once it's been achieved. Those against this motion, raise your voting card. This motion adopted unanimously. Motion 4. This is the 11th IPSF Regional Assembly. Appoint Mrs. Gifty Ajay K, GPSA Ghana, Mrs. Mercy Reynolds, KEFSA Kenya, Sandra Eobi, KEFSA Kenya, as meeting secretary for the direction of 11th IPSF AfRO Regional Assembly. This motion should be achieved immediately and should not be reviewed once it's been achieved. Those against these motions, raise your voting hand. This motion passes unanimously. Motion 5. This is the 11th IPSF AfRO Regional Assembly. Accept and adopt the agenda for the 11th IPSF AfRO Regional Assembly with revision if necessary. Those again, raise your voting card. This motion passed unanimously. This is the 11th IPSF AfRO Regional Assembly. Adopt the minutes of the 10th IPSF AfRO Regional Assembly. Those against this motion? This motion passed unanimously. To present my report. Okay, this motion need to be adopted by the Regional Assembly. This is the 11th IPSF AfRO Regional Assembly. Will appoint Ms. Stephanie Obe as the chairperson for the duration of the presentation of my report. Those against? Okay, this motion passed unanimously.
I wanted to make a point. Yeah, for Promotions Committee. We are assuming everyone has read everything in the folder before coming. That's why we're skipping very fast through these motions. I believe you are official delegates, so you've already read the standing orders. If you want to pass a procedural motion during the regional assembly for any of the points that you are doing, you just raise your card with the points. We allow you to pass the procedural motion. Someone will second, and then we vote against it. I'm sure everyone knows what a procedural motion is because it is stated in the official documents and how to read it. So I'm not going to explain that. So if you have any issue with anything or that is being passed, you can pass a procedural motion. If you are not comfortable about any of the voting, now for procedural motions and some voting, you notice that we don't vote by secret ballot. But if there's a certain vote that you feel that you want to be voted with secret ballot, you can raise a motion to request that for this particular topic, you want us to vote by secret ballot. Then we vote by secret ballot. Does everyone understand? Okay. So please let's go on.
Procedural motion 7 reads, the 11th IPSF Regional Assembly accepts and adopts the report of Mr. Musa Fofana's report that is in the RA folder before the floor is open for discussion.
Thanks, Ms. Stephanie, for the Regional Assembly. This is Musa Fofana, IPSF AfRO chairperson. I started my mandate the 1st October 2021. The handover with my predecessor, Mr. Yao, went very well. He explained me a lot of things about my mission. And just after taking office, I put forward the team spirit to be able to achieve the objective set, which are mainly the 3 objectives, which are my So, my mandate was focused on 3 essential points. The first goal was to strengthen the regional achievements, because I noticed that AfRO we have a lot of achievements, but the always these achievements sometimes are not strengthened. So my first work was to try to strengthen these achievements, and you can notice we have get results. The internship with Zubro, again the physical meeting with ADEFAM, which is one of our association, but they lost their membership. Also, I assist IPSF Rwanda to get them to pay and to return to the federation. Also, I helped my regional working group to execute correctly the action plan. In terms of the second goal, improve the internal and external collaboration. I mean, I participated to the 21st edition of the International Pharmaceutical Forum in Abidjan. I welcome the second edition of the Forum on Antimicrobial Resistance, organized by FESPO. We collaborated with the African Medicine Agency Territory Alliance. We collaborated with some of regions, AfRO. We accepted the invitation of WHO AfRO RC meeting, which will happen to Lomé, Togo. We are working only on some MOUs with AfRO PIC, with Africa South Expo, with Pharma Expo PF, with Africa CDC. This is one of our, a good thing that we do because many of the past region working groups try to get in touch with Africa CDC, but during our mandate we try to do our best to get in touch with them. And we participated as well to the 75th World Health Assembly in Geneva. We get the meeting with Salaam Burkina Faso. We get the physical meeting with IPSF AfRO alumni in Kenya. We got the meeting with KEFSA Executive Committee in Nairobi. We participated to the meeting organized by the WHO AfRO, Africa CDC in Geneva. In terms of travel, like I thought, I've with some of AfRO members countries, Kenya, Burkina Faso, now I'm in Tanzania, again in Conakry, and I'm planning as well to travel to Togo for this. This was my report, and I think it is not enough to present it. Thank you.
So his time is up. Per the official document, it allows 3 minutes. However, if anyone wants to propose a procedural motion to allow him more time to continue, can do that. We need a seconder. Any proposer? IPSF Rwanda seconder. AP Mali. How many minutes? Proposer? 3 minutes. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. And now I think for the travel again, I have to travel to Egypt for the next month to participate to the AM3 and to participate to the World Congress. And as a suggestion for maybe the incoming chairperson, I can just advise him to being very active and try to involve 24 association and not to motivate. And the work was sometimes difficult to me, and sometimes the motivation wasn't there. But I have a good team who helped me a lot and to motivate me a lot to do the work I have to do. And sur l'unité et l'intégration. Ceci est un mandat que j'ai lancé sur renforcer les partenariats que nous avions déjà. Parce que si j'avais remarqué, on avait beaucoup de partenaires, mais il y avait beaucoup de lacunes. Et il y avait certains de ces partenaires avec qui on n'avait pas tiré de lien depuis longtemps. Et également, il y avait des partenaires que la fédération avait cherché depuis 30 années et la fédération n'a pas été trouvée. Mais à notre mandat, nous avons fait le maximum. Et suivant le plan d'action que j'avais proposé durant le début de mon mandat, je peux dire que le mandat a été une réussite à 90% parce que c'est toujours un travail humain, donc rien n'est pas fait. Rien n'est pas fait, donc je suggère au nouveau bureau en train de faire tout pour essayer de mettre plus haut la barre que nous avons laissée. Pour votre attention. Thanks.
The floor is open for discussion. So, direct, we have a new comment from GPSC Ghana.
Edward GPSC Ghana. So, in your report, you mentioned that, and I quote, we will tell them we'll tell them about the gaps and how to reach them. And I was wondering if you could share with us some of the gaps you are talking about and how we can reach them for those of us who have future plans of running for positions. Thank you.
Okay, thanks Edward for the question. I think one of these gaps is the involvement of AfRO members in IPSF global activities. And one of them is, for example, the World Health Assembly. We just, AfRO are just send one delegate to the World Assembly, and it was me. Isaac was there, but Isaac was in front of EXCO. The others region that I don't want to say anything, but you can just notice how less AfRO was represented. That is one thing, and AfRO need to be very active in IPSF activities globally. And the second thing is in terms of partners. We have a lot of partners, AfRO has a lot of partners, but we have a problem to keep this contacts with this partner, try to open discussion with them, try to invite them, etc. And one other thing is to have sometime a meeting with local association. That is very good. We have, because we have some CPs who are very responsive. If we are faced with some kind of worries, try to contact the president of the association and have this meeting with them, because after all, you are the chairperson of the whole region, so you need to be in contact of all of them. And I think we have a lot of gaps, but I think we have maybe more time to discuss it closely. Thank you.
I don't see any other new comments. Do you have any comment from the floor? We have an I. Yes. Stéphane, Burkina Faso.
Donc, je tiens d'abord à remercier. La question que je vais vous poser au président, quelles ont été les difficultés majeures que vous avez rencontrées au cours de ça?
Okay. Just for translation, it seems like the same question that my friend Edward asked about the gaps. And pour cela, maybe as I wanted to confirm it, les problèmes majeurs pour l'activation des membres de la IPSF, comme je l'ai tantôt dit, c'était vraiment difficile pour moi de pouvoir vraiment activer tous ces membres-là. Donc, c'était vraiment un très grand problème. Le second problème, c'est au niveau international, la IPSF n'était pas assez représentée. Donc, c'est un problème, même s'il y avait les téléconférences, on faisait tout pour pouvoir activer les membres. Ce n'était pas du tout au top. Donc, et la troisième chose, je dirais, c'était, bon, problème de temps, on va dire comme ça. On va dire problème de temps par rapport à mon compagnon là. And just for translation, I just highlight three major points, and it's always the same thing: the motivation of the association. The second thing is keeping the contact with partners, and the last thing is maybe just getting back to AfRO activities, AfRO webinars. We don't have too much participation in these activities. And that was some major problem that we faced, and I think my team members can confirm it. If you organize any webinars, it was a problem to have at least even 20 people or 50 people. Or IPSF AfRO, we have 24 MOs in 23 countries. So even if each association being 1 people or 2 people, can have a good number. Thank you.
I see no other interventions. I would therefore like to give the chairperson room to Yao Mwafo as we proceed towards closed discussion. Anyone against?
Okay, thank you, Yao Mwafo. I'm taking over as chairperson because we have to sort things out. So we're still in open discussion. Does anyone else have any comment or any question for me, sir? If not, someone can propose a procedure to close and close discussion. DBS Ghana, second and SSL. let's move into closed discussion. Close your laptops, phones off, no recording, everything. Scrutineers, please escort things out of the room. No laptops